What makes a person truly strong? Is it the ability to defeat everyone who stands against you? Or is it the ability to walk away from violence when violence would be the easier choice? Thorfinn begins his journey believing that strength means revenge. His entire world becomes centered around violence, anger, and the desire to defeat the person he blames for destroying his childhood. But eventually, something changes. The same person who once lived for violence begins searching for a life without it. And that transformation gives us one of the most interesting ideas in Vinland Saga. Maybe real strength isn't about defeating other people. Maybe it's about defeating the part of yourself that constantly wants to. When Thorfinn is young, his understanding of the world is simple. Enemies are obstacles. Violence is a solution. Revenge gives him a purpose. He becomes surrounded by warriors and gradually accepts the idea that becoming stronger means becoming better at fighting. But there's a problem. When revenge becomes your purpose, your enemy controls your life. Every decision revolves around them. Every emotion is connected to them. Even your future depends on them. Thorfinn thinks he is chasing his enemy. In reality, his hatred is controlling him. Eventually, Thorfinn is forced to confront the emptiness behind his obsession. Years of violence haven't given him peace. They haven't returned what he lost. They haven't restored his childhood. And they haven't given him the future he imagined. For the first time, he begins to question the purpose behind everything he has been doing. If revenge was supposed to give his life meaning, why does he feel so empty after pursuing it for so long? And this leads to a much harder question. If violence created his suffering, can violence really be the thing that saves him? That question changes the direction of his life. Because sometimes the hardest thing isn't defeating the person you hate. It's realizing that defeating them was never going to fix what was broken inside you. Thorfinn's new philosophy isn't simply that violence is bad. It's deeper than that. He begins questioning the entire idea that strength has to be demonstrated through domination. Anyone can respond to anger with more anger. Anyone can hurt someone who is weaker. But refusing to become the same kind of person who hurt you requires something different. It requires self-control. It requires patience. And sometimes it requires accepting that you might lose. That's why Thorfinn's development is so interesting. His greatest battles eventually become internal. He isn't trying to prove that he can defeat everyone. He's trying to prove that he doesn't have to. One of the most powerful parts of Thorfinn's philosophy is his rejection of the idea that people must automatically become enemies. Think about how easily humans create groups. Us versus them. My side versus their side. My beliefs versus your beliefs. Once someone is labeled an enemy, hurting them becomes easier to justify. Thorfinn tries to break that cycle. He wants to build relationships without domination and create a place where people don't have to live through constant violence. And this connects to a real psychological phenomenon: dehumanization. When people see another group as less human, empathy becomes easier to suppress. Thorfinn's philosophy moves in the opposite direction. Instead of asking, "How can I defeat this person?" he asks, "How can I stop turning people into enemies?" You don't have to live like a Viking warrior to understand Thorfinn. The same principle appears in everyday life. Someone embarrasses you. You want revenge. Someone insults you. You want to insult them back. Someone succeeds. You feel jealous. Someone disagrees with you. You immediately want to prove them wrong. These are smaller versions of the same cycle: emotion, reaction, conflict, more emotion. Breaking the cycle doesn't mean becoming passive. It means choosing your response instead of letting your emotions choose it for you. And that's the part of Thorfinn's ideology that can actually be useful in real life. The hardest thing about changing isn't changing your surroundings. It's changing yourself. Thorfinn can't erase his past. He can't undo everything that happened. He can't bring back the person he used to be. But he can decide what happens next. And that's an important idea. Your past can explain you without having to control you. You can make mistakes. You can become angry. You can waste time. You can hurt people. But none of those things automatically decide who you have to become. Change begins when you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What am I going to do now?" Thorfinn's ideology isn't about becoming peaceful because fighting is impossible. It's about reaching a point where you have the ability to choose violence, but you don't let anger make that choice for you. His journey changes the meaning of strength. Strength isn't always winning. Sometimes it's forgiveness. Sometimes it's patience. Sometimes it's walking away. Sometimes it's refusing to become the person you hate. And perhaps the most important lesson from Thorfinn is this: the greatest victory isn't defeating your enemy. It's becoming someone who no longer needs an enemy to give your life meaning.